Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin With Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thank you so much for logging in, tuning in, and being here with us. Make sure you hit subscribe. Bang on that little bell. As the kids say, smash it. Come back every single day after 2 p.m. We have a new author, artist, filmmaker, musician. We have a creator in the chair, hanging out, just talking about creativity, music, art, you name it, it's here. So come back over and over again. Hit subscribe so you can do that, please. And in the meantime, we are here at the Foxwood Wine Company. We're here all day long today. We're running a little media day here. It's awesome. They gave us a little section of the shop that we could just take over, set up the set, and hang out with some awesome creative artists. So we're here right now hanging with singer-songwriter Robert Gray. How you doing, Robert?
Good.
Awesome,
I'm doing great.
Man. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
So you are a local Brevard County singer-songwriter.
Yes, that's right.
That's fantastic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that journey. How long have you been a musician in general?
Well, let's see. I started when I was 14, and I'm past 60. I won't say how far past, but
barely.
Anyway, just
somewhere
between 60 and 100. But,
see, it happens. It's a good thing. It means that we kept breathing in and out.
That's right.
Well past our expiration date.
That's
right.
You got it.
We're all good. So,
well, when I was 14, the Beatles came to America, and they were on the Ed Sullivan Show. And
yes.
I saw that show, and I, like a lot of other guys, probably thousands of other guys, started playing the guitar. Well, a friend of mine that was on the football team, I was in line for football practice, and I told the guy in front of me I want to learn to play the guitar. He says, well, that guy up there knows how to play. So I went up there, I introduced myself. We're still playing together after all those years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. You know, we talked a little bit earlier with some other creative minds about community, about what the community that forms around the creative arts.
Right.
And you know, to hear that, 14 years old, all these years later,
right?
That friendship, those friendships still stick.
Oh yeah.
And because it's a friendship formed around the thing that you love,
right?
The thing that you really enjoy, and for so many young people out there that are using social media, that are using all of these things, when you form a friendship, whether it's online or in person, with around something that you really have in common, something you really love.
Right.
It endures, like your love of music has.
Right.
So, you were performing today, yes?
Well, I play in the church across the street, Highland. I've been in that band there for 13 years.
Wow.
Now, the guitar player, the other guitar player, is the guy who taught me. His name is Joe Hunt. The keyboard player.
All these years later, the guy that taught you is playing with you over at the church.
And the keyboard player, Dennis Grayson. We were 14, he was 12. And he would come to our practices and look in the window, and we said, we don't want that kid in here. He's too young. He's only 12.
You don't want the little kid.
No, the little kid.
No, go away.
Now he runs a band at the church.
See?
So that tells you what happens there.
That is. Yeah. That's fantastic, though.
Right.
And, it does speak to something. A lot of young artists that are out there right now getting started or whatever, and they're looking for places to play, and they're trying to figure out what their next thing is. If you love the music and you love that process, there is always a place for you to celebrate that love somewhere. Right. And you've been able to do it right during your worship ceremonies here in church. Right. Now, do you perform, away from church? Do you perform out in the
Well, I just started. Joe and I, my guitar buddy, we used to play. We went to college in Gainesville.
Okay.
So we used to play around the college there in our 20s. And then we went our separate ways, raising families, and stuff. And we get back together over the years. And now, like, I'm retired. He's basically retired. He teaches guitar for money.
Okay.
So now we have the freedom to actually get together and rehearse. I live right over here, a couple blocks away, and I have a studio upstairs.
Awesome.
All the stuff and everything. So he comes over, twice a week, and we rehearse original music because we write music too.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we write music. Yeah. So when we were in high school, we had a drummer. He passed away about 5 years ago, but he was a songwriter too. Mike Lucas is his name. He didn't play a guitar. He didn't play an instrument. He was a drummer. but you could play him changes on the guitar, like chord changes, and he'd write a song right there. He'd write the lyrics, the melody, and everything. We still use his stuff today.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And again, it speaks volumes to the idea of this creative arts community that we're a part of right now.
Right.
That those friendships were formed over 50, 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
And now here you are retired. This is a second life. This is a second life for you.
Oh, yeah.
And you're returning to your musical roots and to those same people, those same friends. That's fantastic. Do you what is your preference? Do you play acoustic guitar? Do you play electric guitar? Do you play a little bit of everything?
I play acoustic guitar and keyboard.
Okay.
We started on electric guitars because that's what the Beatles had. So we wanted to be the Beatles. Everybody did. And then as we got older, we sort of changed over to acoustic. It's just easier. An acoustic guitar, you don't have to plug it in. You can take it anywhere. You can go out, sit out under a tree in the woods and play it. You know, you just take it with you.
You can take it right into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Our Hangin' With Web Show audience will understand that joke because some of our dear friends are a local, they're local Central Florida local. They're out of Orlando. They're a couple of young guys that call themselves the Kitchen Killers because they were rehearsing around the house. They were looking for the room with the best acoustics. They went into the practice room, they went in the living room, they went in the dining room, they went in the bathroom. Thank God that didn't catch on. And they ended up in the kitchen. And so that every Friday night they perform live at 9:05 on Facebook Live for an audience.
Amen. Good for
them. From a different kitchen somewhere in the state of Florida. That's great.
That's a good little gimmick there.
It's a great, man. It's something. And so see, you can perform an acoustic guitar anywhere.
Right.
And bring the music. So now this, like you said, you're retired now. This is a second life for you in music. As a songwriter, there are some things that are incredibly distinct from when you first started out to now.
Right.
What do you find yourself writing more about now, as opposed to then?
The same thing I've always written about, my own life. That's all I know about. I mean, I can use the third person, look at other people, But basically, that's all I really know about.
Got to write what's in here.
Yeah, my own experiences.
Yeah.
In fact, my first song, I was 14. I came to practice all fired up. It's called "I Need Your Lovin'." And it was,
because he's 14.
Yeah, 14. I need your lovin'. Oh, yes, I do. I need your lovin'. There's nothing you can do. I'm telling you.
Nice. You know what though? There's a reason that those things ring true, whether you're 14, 40, or 60.
Oh yeah.
Because those are universal truths for every person.
The love theme always works.
Always works. That's right. And we were just talking to an author who writes that she writes what she calls seasoned romance, which is romance for guys our age.
Right.
And they're like, because it turns out that we're still, guys.
Oh yeah.
Still.
Yeah. I'm still a guy.
See, still a guy. Okay, so tell us, what is the no-fly zone?
The no-fly zone. It's it's a restaurant, and it's a buddy of mine started it in January.
Okay.
He's got a printing company. He's one of these guys that does a lot of stuff. And he's a chef. I didn't even know he was a chef.
Wow.
So he called my daughter, who he has a printing company, and he printed all her T-shirts. Throwing a plug for her. Enjoy cleaning. If you need your place cleaned, call my daughter.
There you
Enjoy
go.
cleaning.
There you go. If you had the Hangin' With Web Show in your shop all day long, you're going to need to clean up afterwards?
Yeah.
There you go.
So Frankie Luciano called me. He's the owner of the No Fly Zone, and asked me if I wanted to play.
You actually know a guy named Frankie Luciano.
Frankie Luciano, that's right. Yeah, I certainly do. And he claims to be an answer.
You and I are the only, no, just the people in the studio right now are the only ones who actually get the irony of that name.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We all do. All of us.
Oh, yeah.
See,
yeah.
YouTube went, what? Google it, guys.
Yeah. Well, I wore a hat to his place last night. And had FL on it for Florida. He says, "What are you doing wearing a hat with my initials on it?"
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Okay, so No Fly Night is a restaurant?
Right, restaurant,
okay.
Yeah. He sells all kinds of food. He's got beer and wine. But I haven't really played out in quite a while. But now that I'm retired, I played there and it went good. So he says I can play there as much as I want.
Awesome.
So I'm going to play there. Wherever else doors open up, I'm going to go.
Fantastic, fantastic. What is it that's in your mind that has endured with you, that love of music, for so long, through raising a family and having a life and all that stuff in the middle, but from 14 to now, what is it about the music that speaks to you?
I just love music. In fact, the first artist that I ever saw, I was like 13, before I saw the Beatles, my buddy's parents took us to a nightclub in Cocoa Beach way back when they had the big guys would come in to Cocoa Beach.
Yeah.
Tony Bennett came. All right. So he was in his prime, probably in his 30s. I'm sitting like right here, and the table's probably where she's at with the camera. And I'm sitting there 13. I didn't even know who Tony Bennett was. This guy killed it. All right.
Tony Bennett, guys.
Yeah, Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
But I remember that to this day. It was like that was the first impression of an artist, seeing an artist live. Tony Bennett. Now, I'm not supposed to like Tony Bennett, but, I still like him.
Amen. Some things are timeless.
Right.
Music is one of those things. Music is something that, and especially if you become an artist and you start writing and you start performing, it's something you can look at. And we talked earlier about this on camera. It's kind of genre bending when you're in the arts. It's listeners and viewers, they're home and they're tuning in their favorite thing, whether it's country or rock or classics. But an artist appreciates the art involved, and whether it's Tony Bennett or the Beatles. Which, guys, if you guys look back and Google these things, okay, young guys, you're gonna want to see that. Everybody knows who the Beatles are. Google a song and then Google Tony Bennett and see. It's a wide range. Right. It sweeps across, but it always touches a nerve in us somewhere.
Well, I like all music if it's done well. I mean, bluegrass, country, blues, rock, jazz, everything. If it's done well, it's art. It's music.
It does, and something just grabs you and makes you kind of you want to sing along. Right. You want to dance if it's fast enough. You want it gets you up out of your seat, gets your heart going, and makes you see things. So. From all those days back then to now, what's the biggest difference in your creative process, in working in the studio and things like that at your house? And what's the biggest difference for you now?
I don't really know. I can't. People say, how do you write stuff? Like now, Steve over here, Steve Hodak, a good friend of mine, he writes all the time. He's a prolific writer. He hit me and he goes, have you written anything today? Or, like he writes every day. He's writing something. Me, I go through spurts. I might go 6 months and not write anything, but then it just comes. You just write. You know, a song, like you'll get a line and a melody, and you'll know right away if it's good or not. Or if it's average. You can tell yourself.
You ever get that? You get that hook stuck in your head, but you haven't built a song around it.
Oh yeah.
It just sits there. The hook is there for however long.
It happens all kinds of ways. I mean, when you're as old as I am and been writing a long time, you'll have songs that you never finished from the past. And they'll come back up, and you find they meet another song that you're doing now. You put them together. Or when you got another writer like my buddy Joe and Mike, the drummer, they've got stuff that Joe's real organized, and he keeps a record of everything. He's got everything written down. So he'll bring something up I completely forgot about, maybe from 1980 or 85. And then you work it up, you play it, and you go, well, that'll go good with this. So there's no formula. That's what I'm saying.
No, it isn't. Creativity is just that. It's creative. It's a creative process. There is a process, of course. We encourage all of our creators, master your skill, master your talent, but at the same time, let those talents, let that muse, if you will, speak to you in the way that you understand it. Whether you're 14 and you're starting out, or you're starting anew in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. Let that speak to you and let it carry you.
See, I have a theory. I think everybody's a musician. If you look at little kids when they hear music, why does a baby dance to the music? But then some of us learn to play an instrument, and some don't. You hear people all the time go, "I wish I would have learned to play a guitar or a piano or something like that." It's not too late. Anybody can learn. Oh, I can't do this or that. Well, yes, you can.
That is one of the things, and it's great. What brought us down here today to the Foxwood Wine Company was we attended IndieCon last week, and we got to hear a lot of these young independent musicians, as well as talk to some authors and other folks. Excuse me. And as a part of that process, we got to work with our dear friend and local creative artist, Jake Estrada from Space Coast Comics. And we're always reminded by Jake every single day, doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what you think you can do or can't do. At the end of the day, you can do it.
That's right.
So find that thing that lights you up, whether it's music, art, film. Find that thing that really lights you up inside and find a way to do it. That's really the message.
Follow your passion.
Follow that passion. Follow that dream. We have to wrap it up. We've been hanging out with Robert Gray, a singer-songwriter who you can catch up the road at the No Fly Zone. And in the meantime, guys, we want to thank our partners and our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies, Space Coast Comics, IndieCon, our great friend Jay Bauer, Josh Bauer at Jay Bauer Art for all of the great art that's on our set today, our friends over at Embellish Effects, our friends right here at the Foxwood Wine Company for opening up this side of the store and letting us come in and set up here today and hang out with some great artists, our friends over at Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida. Thank you, B, for all you do for Central Florida and for our community. And thank you for all you do for the Hangin' With Web Show. We want to thank our great friend, Gene Turnbow, and his whole team over at Krypton Radio. And, of course, we want to thank singer-songwriter Robert Gray for hanging out with us. Robert, thank you so much
welcome.
for hanging
It's good
with
to be
us.
here. Good to be here.
Remember, everybody, stay tuned in and stay logged on and see who we're hanging with next. Awesome. Robert, thank you.
All
That was
right.
awesome.
Yeah,
See, pretty
thanks.
casual.